East Cleveland, Ohio. Ohio. East Cleveland is a city in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, United States, and is the first suburb encountered when traveling east from Cleveland. The population was 13,792 at the 2020 census. East Cleveland is bounded by the city of Cleveland to its northwest and a small section of its southwestern edge, and by Cleveland Heights to the east and the majority of its southern limits. History. Historically, East Cleveland was partially founded by Scottish immigrants, whose names can still be found in the city, such as Shaw, McIlrath, and Eddy. East Cleveland incorporated as a village in 1895 and became a city in 1911. This charter included provisions for women's suffrage, which at the time was unheard of east of the Mississippi River. Before the charter passed, the city of Cleveland unsuccessfully attempted to annex the emerging municipality in 1910 and again in 1916. East Cleveland is home to General Electric's historic Nella Park, the world's first industrial park. Nella Park, which was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1975. Huron Hospital, a satellite hospital of the Cleveland Clinic, was the city's largest employer. Huron Hospital was a notable health care facility, being the only level Roman II trauma center between Cleveland's Metro Health Medical Center. Huron Hospital closed in early spring of 2011. East Cleveland includes a portion of Euclid Avenue, which from the 1860s through the 1920s was known as Millionaires Row. The many estates along this stretch of road in East Cleveland included the 248-acre 1.0 km2 home of the late John D. Rockefeller, Standard Oil founder and the world's first billionaire. By the Great Depression, a great number of homes along Millionaires Row were demolished or abandoned. Although commercial properties and fast food chains replaced many Euclid Avenue homes during the second half of the 20th century, East Cleveland is still home to 18 of the original Millionaires Row homes, while only 6 are left in the city of Cleveland. After World War II, development of other suburbs within the region brought a number of changes to East Cleveland. By the 1960s, African Americans constituted an increasingly large portion of the city's population. By 1984, East Cleveland was one of the largest primarily Black communities in Ohio, with a population of 36,957. Government and politics. East Cleveland is a charter city that is granted its authority under the Home Rule provisions of the Ohio Constitution. Prior to 1985, East Cleveland had been under the leadership of a commission and city manager. In 1985, voters grew frustrated with that form of government after 2 commissioners were charged with theft in office, and after a revolving door of city managers resulted in little stability and a reduction in services. Citizens for Sound Government, a group of residents, led a petition drive to elect a strong mayor and to create a 5-member city council. Attorney Darrell E. Pittman became the first mayor to lead the city since 1908. He was sworn in on January 1, 1986. After 2 years on the job, in Pittman's second 2-year term, Ohio's state auditor declared on September 9, 1988, that East Cleveland was in fiscal emergency. The fiscal emergency designation came when the Water and Sewer Fund were found to have deficits in excess of $2 million. Pittman was defeated in 1989 by Wallace D. Davis, the council president, and a funeral homeowner. Prior to his defeat, Pittman convinced former U.S. Rep. Louis Stokes to support a congressional amendment that made East Cleveland a direct entitlement city under HUD. That designation gave the city the authority to receive more than $1 million a year in block grant funding directly from HUD. Davis borrowed $2.05 million that had to be paid back in 8 years to get the city out of fiscal emergency. His administration made the last payment in 1997, but the city remained in fiscal emergency throughout Mayor Emanuel Onenwer's 8-year term in office, and after he was indicted and convicted on federal charges of racketeering and corruption in 2004. Onenwar was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison in September 2004. He was replaced by Council President Sarah Goggins, who finished the remainder of his term. Eric J. Brewer became the city's fourth elected mayor on January 1, 2006, and served one term. Brewer had been an investigative journalist. He negotiated an agreement with Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson to take over East Cleveland's water department in 2008, resulting in significant savings to help the city as it struggled through fiscal emergency. The deal resulted in the transfer of city employees to Cleveland as part of the 25-year agreement. During his primary re-election campaign in 2009, Brewer accused the police union of releasing photographs depicting him wearing women's lingerie. Gary Norton, a Democrat first elected to the city council in 2006, was elected mayor after defeating Brewer by a nearly 2-1 margin in the Democratic primary election. He took office in January 2010. He did not face a challenger in the general election. After 2 unsuccessful recall attempts, Gary Norton and City Council President Thomas Wheeler were defeated in a special recall election on December 6, 2016. Norton lost 548 to 528 and Wheeler lost 229. The City Council's vice president, Brandon King, assumed Norton's position as mayor. King won the September 2016 Democratic primary for mayor and was elected on in November 2017 to serve out the remainder of Norton's term. Demographics: in East Cleveland, 95.8% spoke English, 2.1% Spanish, and 1.2% Russian. 2016 Census Bureau estimates. Drawing on data from the 2010 census, the U.S. Census Bureau's Population Estimates Program (PP) estimated there were 17,220 people residing in East Cleveland and 8,086 households in 2016. These numbers show a 3.5% decrease in the population since the 2010 census. 2010 census. As of the census of 2010, there were 17,843 people, 8,286 households, and 4,043 families residing in the city. The population density was 5,774.4 inhabitants per square mile, 2229.5/km2. There were 12,523 housing units at an average density of 4,052.8 per square mile, 1564.8/km2. The racial makeup of the city was 93.2% African American, 4.6% white, 0.2% Native American, 0.2% Asian, 0.2% from other races, and 1.5% from 2 or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 1.0% of the population. There were 8,286 households, of which 24.9% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 16.5% were married couples living together, 26.4% had a female householder with no husband present, 5.9% had a male householder with no wife present, and 46.2% of all households were made up of individuals, and 15.4% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.11, and the average family size was 3.3. The median age in the city was 42.6 years. 22.2% of residents were under the age of 18. 9.8% were between the ages of 18 and 24, 20.6% were from 25 to 44, 28.6% were from 45 to 64, and 18.8% were 65 years of age or older. The gender makeup of the city was 45.1% male and 54.9% female. 2000 census. As of the 2000 census, there were 27,217 people, 11,210 households, and 6,423 families residing in the city. The population density was 8,761.8 people per square mile, 3,379.0/km2. There were 13,491 housing units at an average density of 4,343.1 per square mile, 1674.9/km2. The racial makeup of the city was 93.39% African American, 4.56% white, 0.22% Native American, 0.22% Asian, 0.1% Pacific Islander, 0.17% from other races, and 1.43% from two or more. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 0.76% of the population. There were 11,210 households, out of which 28.5% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 21.2% were married couples living together, 30.3% had a female householder with no husband present, and 42.7% were non-families. 38.0% of all households were made up of individuals, and 11.4% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.39, and the average family size was 3.20. In the city, the population was spread out, with 29.7% under the age of 18, 9.0% from 18 to 24, 26.6% from 25 to 44, 21.4% from 45 to 64, and 13.3% 65 years of age or older. The median age was 34 years. For every 100 females, there were 79.6 males. For every 100 females aged 18 and over, there were 72.1 males. The median income for a household in the city was $20,540, and the median income for a family was $26,053. Males had a median income of $26,123 versus $21,960 for females. The per capita income for the city was $12,602. About 28.0% of families and 32.0% of the population were below the poverty line, including 45.5% of those under age 18 and 22.5% of those aged 65 or over. Households. East Cleveland is a community with a housing density of 4,343 houses per square mile. There are a total of 13,491 houses within the city limits. Although the state average for renters in Ohio is 35%, the percentage of renters in East Cleveland specifically is 68%. The 2015 median gross rent for East Cleveland was $472 per month. Income. The 2011-2015 median household income for residents living in East Cleveland was $19,592. Along with that, 59% of household income is less than $25,000 annually. Only 19% of households in East Cleveland have annual incomes between $25,000 and $44,000. The 2011-2015 median individual income for residents of East Cleveland was $14,442, with 52% of individual incomes being under $15,000 a year. In addition, 31% of individual incomes in East Cleveland are between $15,000 and $34,000. In 2018, East Cleveland was ranked as the fourth poorest city in America. Moreover, the city had a 41.8% poverty rate along with a $19,953 median household income. Businesses. Per the 2012 economic census, there are 1,105 locally owned businesses in East Cleveland. Of these firms, 944 are owned by minorities and 733 by women. The portion of firms owned by minorities and women are significantly higher than both the state and national average. Medical care. East Cleveland is home to several medical care facilities, including the Candlewood Park Health Care Center and the Stephanie Tubbs Jones Health Center. Candlewood Park Health Care Center offers care for senior citizens, including outpatient care and rehabilitation services. The Stephanie Tubbs Jones Health Center, which is also a Cleveland Clinic facility, specializes in many different areas, including cardiology, crime, the violent crime rate of 7.69 per 100,000 residents is about twice the national rate of 3.8 and above the statewide rate of 2.85. In the same way, the number of reported crimes per square mile, 168, is about 5 times that of Ohio, 35, and the nation, 32.8. Michael Madison. On July 19, 2013, East Cleveland police, responding to reports of a foul odor, investigated a garage leased to Michael Madison, a 35-year-old sex offender, and discovered a decomposing body lying inside. 2 more bodies were found the following day, one in a backyard and the other in the basement of a vacant house. The bodies, which all belonged to young African-American women, were found 200 yards apart, each wrapped in a plastic bag. After obtaining a search warrant, police entered Madison's apartment and found further evidence of decomposition. After a brief standoff with police at his mother's house, Madison was taken into custody without incident. Some media organizations say he might have been influenced by convicted Cleveland serial killer Anthony Sowell. One of the 3 victims was identified as Angela Deskins, a 38-year-old resident of Cleveland who was reported missing in June 2013. The other 2 were identified as Shatisha Shealy and Shirlda Helen Terry. On July 22, 2013, Madison was charged with 3 charges of aggravated murder. On May 5, 2016, he was found guilty of all 3 murders. In June 2016, Madison was sentenced to death. Arnold Black. On April 28, 2012, Detective Randy Hicks, Officer Jonathan O'Leary, and other members of the East Cleveland Police Department arrested Arnold Black on suspicion of drug activity. Hicks punched Black as O'Leary stood by. Black was then placed in a holding cell after his arrest and was later released. Black claimed that the police beat him while he was handcuffed and locked him in a storage closet for 4 days with no toilet and nothing to eat or drink but a carton of milk. In the resulting lawsuit, the police were unable to produce dashboard camera video of the beating or any police reports of the arrest. A jury initially awarded Black $22 million, including $10 million from Police Chief Ralph Spots. The city appealed the verdict and the 8th District Court of Appeals overturned the decision. The Ohio Supreme Court also refused to hear Black's appeal. However, at a subsequent retrial in 2019, Black was awarded US $20 million in compensatory damages and US $30 million in punitive damages. Geography. East Cleveland is located at 41-3154 and 81-3455 W41.531,701 minus 81.581,948. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 3.10 square miles, 8.3 km2, of which 3.9 square miles, 8.0 km2 is land, and 0.1 square miles, 0.3 km2 is water. The Hill. Most of the city is located in a relatively flat and relatively lower area contiguous with the city of Cleveland. A small portion of the city lies atop a steep hill and is contiguous with the neighboring city of Cleveland Heights. It also lies in a relatively flat area at a higher elevation. Superior Road, Forest Hills Boulevard, Lee Road, Noble, and North Taylor Roads are the major through streets ascending the hill. The McGregor home and the Forest Hill Historic District are located on the hill. Parks. Parks. The 248-acre 1.0 km2 Forest Hill Park boasts 3 baseball diamonds, tennis courts, and walking trails that have retained the natural green space as intended by John D. Rockefeller, Jr. when he deeded the park to East Cleveland and the city of Cleveland Heights. Forest Hill Park is the largest single body of green park space between 2 large metroparks on the far east and west sides of Cleveland, Ohio. The city also features Pattison Park and Hawley Park. Education. The East Cleveland demographics on the levels of education are as follows, with 34% of residents having a high school diploma or equivalent, 37% have at least some college, and 7% have a completed bachelor's degree. East Cleveland City Schools. Transportation. East Cleveland is a major public transportation hub for Northeast Ohio with a total of 80, approximately one-third of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority bus routes beginning or ending inside the city. The GCRTA's Red Line's eastern terminus is located at the Windermere Rapid Station. Destinations along the Red Line include University Circle, Cleveland State University, Tower City Center/Public Square, the West Side Market, and Hopkins International Airport. Passengers boarding GCRTA buses with stops in East Cleveland have access to an even wider range of employment, educational, recreational, and cultural destinations throughout the Cleveland area. Walkability. In 2017, WalkScore rated the walkability of East Cleveland average with a score of 57. This is comparable to the city of Cleveland's score of 60. Surrounding communities. Notable people.